Chrisley Knows best patriarch Todd Chrisley urges Chloe to ditch Savannah and Nanny Faye. Keep reading to find out why and more. In a recent clip for Chrisley Knows Best, fans learned that hanging out with Savannah and Nanny Faye Chrisley might not be in the best interest of Chloe, 9. In the beginning, Todd asks Chloe where she thinks Chicago is. Todd's youngest points to somewhere in the Northeast, likely New York. Savannah chimes in with, "No, that's not it." Then, excitedly, she shouts, "It's that orange one." From the looks of it, the Sassy by Savannah creator is referencing Pennsylvania. When Todd seeks clarification, Nanny Faye claims that it's Washington. This leaves Chloe looking confused. To solve this problem, Todd Chrisley gives Chloe the following instructions. "Chloe, honey, I want you to stop hanging around these two over here." Nanny Faye scratches the back of her head as she sums it all up to the fact that they get confused. Meanwhile, Savannah offers up some other advice. The former beauty queen says, "Chloe, you don't have to actually know." This seems to intrigue the elementary schooler. Savannah's geography advice boils down to this. All you gotta do is jump on a plane and say, "Take me there." Notably, there are mixed reviews for this Chrisley Knows Best clip. Some of the followers are hopeful that this is scripted. They also hope that Savannah isn't that stupid as portrayed on the show. Another comment reads, "I hope this was scripted and not real life. That was pathetic." However, there is a comment from a fan that relates to Todd Chrisley's geography lesson. These comments read as follows. "This is still me. Couldn't tell ya where any state, other than a few, on a map is. Geography was never my strong suit." Even the caption for the clip is relatable. It reads, "Thankfully there are apps for this now." What do you think about Todd Chrisley and his geography lesson for Chloe? Check out the clip here. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Make sure to come back to TV shows Ace for more Chrisley Knows Best news. Don't forget the Chrisleys have a new time. Tune in to USA Network Thursday nights at 8:30/7:30 FE for a new episode of Chrisley Knows Best. Todd felt a familiar tension settle in his chest as he paced the length of the living room, the soft hum of the air conditioner the only lull in his thoughts. His reflection in the windows looked back at him, a man resolute in purpose, yet weighed by the gravity of the words he needed to say. Chloe, his daughter, was standing by the mantelpiece, shoulders hunched, eyes distant. Savannah and Nanny Faye had become central pillars of her world, pillars he now feared might crumble under too much expectation. As a father, Todd's instincts pushed him forward, but he knew he had to choose his moment carefully. The house, filled with photographs and framed memories, reminded him of the passage of time and how people change. He gently cleared his throat, careful not to startle her. She looked up, her gaze steady yet unreadable, began mentally sifting through the right words without uttering them until the moment felt right. He weighed each phrase in his mind, conscious that his tone would say more than the words themselves. No finger-pointing, no blame, just honest reflection. This wasn't a confrontation. It was a plea, born of love and concern. He thought of Chloe's childhood, bright, eager, always a bit wild at heart. Over time, Savannah had become a confidant, someone Chloe looked to with a kind of sisterly bond. And Nanny Faye. She had been the soft landing throughout years of laughter and tears. Todd had watched Chloe lean on them, but lately he'd seen shadows of tension, subtle withdrawal, moments of confusion. What had begun as a protective circle had apparently become a confining web. Todd recognized how difficult it is for any young adult to disentangle from strong influences, even from those they love deeply. He saw Chloe struggling with her identity, echoing phrases and perspectives that felt more borrowed than authentically hers. That concern had fueled the knot in his throat as he approached her. He chose softness in his steps. Chloe looked smaller than usual, though she had grown into a strong, poised young woman. She had stepped into young adulthood with confidence, yet inside, she was fragile. He crouched slightly to meet her at eye level, offering unspoken reassurance. She didn't flinch. Instead, She met his gaze with something between worry and resignation. He didn't speak at first. He let the silence stretch, giving her space to fill it, or to let it sink in. Memories came flooding back, late-night heart-to-hearts around the dining table, bedtime stories with Nanny Faye perched on a footstool, sibling sleepovers with Savannah where giggles echoed through the house. Those moments had been comforting, dependable. But comfort, he knew, could also be a cage. He gently touched, not tugging, but grounding. His expression remained open, patient. He wanted her to know he understood. She exhaled. A trembling current passed between them, as if she were on the brink of revelation. He began moving in a different direction now, leaning into a reflection rather than a plea. His posture softened. He thought of Chloe's strengths, her creativity, her empathy, that fierce spark that had ignited when she stood up for someone who needed it. He saw her potential to carve her own path, but only if she could step out from beneath others' shadows. He recalled how Savannah, so dear to her sister, had always been the practical, grounded one, drawing Chloe into rational thinking, structure, expectations. And Nanny Faye, whose nurturing presence had shielded Chloe from harshness, but accidentally cushioned her from the grit of the real world. Chloe's world felt safe, but stifling. She was adapting, not blossoming. Todd exhaled through his nose, consciously slowing the tremor in his heart. He let the hum of the AC become a rhythm, reminding himself this conversation wasn't a storm but a gentle tide, perhaps capable of reshaping the shore. He saw tears glint in Chloe's eyes. Not sadness exactly, something deeper. Recognition. He let the weight of that moment linger. Then he shifted. He didn't speak of Savannah or Faye directly. Instead, he talked about Chloe's dreams. He painted pictures of her future. Art she might create, lessons she might teach, lives she might touch. He asked, without words, if those dreams were truly hers or reflections of those around her. Chloe's gaze drifted to a nearby painting, a watercolor she had done but abandoned. He subtly nodded toward it. She stared, then blinked, as if seeing it anew. He smiled. No words needed. It was a nudge. He let the silence return. The evening light crept through the curtains, softening their shapes. Chloe's fingers brushed the mantel where her painting lay. Hesitant at first, then gathering courage, she reached forward and lifted the frame. Her lips curved in a small, hopeful smile. The painting removed, the wall behind it felt suddenly empty, blank canvas, possibility, an invitation. He stood peacefully beside her. His eyes reflected pride. She turned and found him there. No directives, no demands. Just presence. She placed the painting on the table and stepped back. Her posture straightened. The tear in her eyes spoke of release, not sorrow. She was stepping off a ledge, inch by inch, trusting the air beneath her. Air she had made herself. Todd's heart warmed. Throughout the process, he had avoided naming names, avoided judgment, because he knew labeling Savannah or Faye as the problem wouldn't help. He wanted Chloe to discover autonomy, to feel entitled to her own voice, even if that meant painful growing pains. Part of him mourned the dissonance this shift might cause in her relationship with those she loved. But he hoped the fracture, if it came, would be temporary and necessary. He wondered how his words might resonate later. He imagined Chloe reflecting back on this evening in years to come. Maybe she'd smile, remembering the quiet conviction in his eyes. Maybe she'd understand how deeply he believed in her. He gave her space to breathe. She closed her eyes and let out a soft, steadying breath. Then slowly, she exhaled again and opened her eyes with renewed clarity. He offered a small but intentional nod, a gesture that said he was with her, no matter what direction she chose. She stepped away and moved toward the desk where her sketchbook lay. Todd watched, his chest swelling with a mixture of love, relief, and anticipation. He recognized that this was a beginning, not a conclusion. There would be conversations to follow, perhaps tough ones with Savannah or Nanny Faye. He would be there, but tonight his role had been simply to open the door of possibility for Chloe to find her own voice. She began to sketch, tentative lines transforming into bold strokes. The room's atmosphere had shifted. Where once stood hesitation and doubt, now crackled the energy of possibility. Todd remained still for a moment longer, savoring the transformation. Then he turned and walked away, knowing he had created the space she needed, not by instructing, but by trusting. He paused at the top of the stairs. Turning back, he caught a glimpse of Chloe immersed in creation, the painting once leaning shyly against the wall now gazing back at her, as if offering silent approval. He gave one last smile, a quiet benediction. The night stretched on, filled with whispers of brushes on paper, soft but unstoppable. A new chapter had begun, for Chloe, for the relationships around her, and for Todd, who had stepped into the role he once long resisted. A father willing to let go, so his daughter could control her own flight.